Hello children, in this video we will be learning about functions in Python. First of all, what is a function? Function is a procedure which executes a particular task. We can say function is a named block of statements which is used to execute a procedure or a process. Once a function has been written, it can be invoked from other parts of the program as and when required. Children, you have all done functions in your earlier class. There are different types of functions. There are some functions which are inbuilt functions, or I can say some library functions, and there are some functions which are called as user-defined functions. So, before starting with user-defined function, we'll just have a look on how to use a library function. In this video, children, we'll be just doing the introduction of functions, in which I'll teach you how to create a function, how to define a function, and how to call it. So children, we'll start with a library function. Now, children, we'll be writing program, so I click on File, New. Now, we will be using some math functions. So I write at the beginning, import math. Now, suppose we want to find the power of a number. So for that, what we can do, we can enter two numbers from the user. First is the base number and second is the exponent. So I write b is equal to input enter the base number, enter the base, now children, I can take it as an integer, so before the input I just write int and the whole input will be converted, whatever we are actually entering, it will be converted into an integer. Next I take the exponent number e, again I write input enter the exponent, enter the exponent. We can directly assign the value for the exponent and the base also, but here I am asking the user to enter it. Okay, now I'll take a variable, suppose result variable or res I have taken here, in which I want to store the power of the number. So now power is under which module? Under library module, I can say under math. So math.pow, that is power function I am using, which is already defined. The system already knows what this power function has to do. We have to just pass the parameters. B and E are called the parameters or arguments of this function. Now I just write the statement to print the result. So I write power is right here. Where is our result stored? The power is stored in RES. So now children, I just press enter. I save the program. Suppose I name the file as E1. Python files are saved with the extension .py. Now it's saved. I run it. So it is asking for the base number. Suppose I enter the base as 5. I enter the exponent as 3. So what should be the result? 5 raised to 3 is 5 into 5, 25. 25 into 5 is 125. So let us check. So children, the result is 125. So this is what we have done. We have used a library function which is already defined. So what the par function has to do, that is already given in the compiler. Now, in this session what we will do, we will learn how to define a particular function. So for defining a function, what we have to do, we have to first use the keyword. I am just deleting the contents, we will save this. I am just using the function keyword def. After the def keyword, you have to write the name of the function. So function name can be anything. It follows the same naming rules as variables. So it should start with an alphabet. You can have numbers or digits in between. You can use only the special symbol underscore. So the same naming rules for function name applies as is there for variables. So suppose I name the function as display. Okay, after giving the name of the function, you have to put the parenthesis, which is simple round brackets or simple brackets, I can say. Any function name is followed by a parenthesis. After that, you put a colon, which shows that the block is going to start. Now, after this, what you can write, what this function has to do. So, I'll just write a print statement here. I write print. I write stay at home. That's it, children. Okay, this is the simplest definition of a function in which I have just written the name of the function and it is printing a message. Now, see, already the math module is having the functions like square root, power, already everything is defined. But if you want to use it, you have to call it. Unless and until you write square root or in bracket you write 2 or 4, it won't give you the result. Similarly, I have written a function, I have defined it. Now to use this function, I have to call this function. So when we are calling the function, we have to just write the name of the function and put the parenthesis here. Now this is a function without any argument. Without any argument means inside the brackets we have not passed any parameters. Okay, since in the definition is not there, so while calling also we don't have to write it. So I have just written display with empty brackets, that's it. Now what happens is, this is called the calling of the function. So when this function is called, it goes to its definition and whatever is written in the definition, that gets executed. So here when the function is called, it will go to the definition and it will print stay at home. After executing the function, wherever it was called, it comes back to that position. Okay, so now I save this file, I run this. So what you see, children, stay at home. Now, why we are using functions? What is the utility of functions? See, using functions make our code very simpler. The main aim of using function is reusability. See, wherever I want, I can call a function which is already defined. Suppose square root, power, log, all these are predefined functions. So the number of times I want, I can call it. There is no restriction. Similarly, whatever user-defined functions we are creating, it can be called any number of times by other part of the program and from anywhere of the part of the program. Now, like I have written display, I have called it once. Even if I want to call it again, write display, again you write display. So I have written it thrice. So what should happen? First time display is called, it should go to its destination, execute it, come back at the point it was called. Again next statement is display, so again it should go there. After executing this, it should again come back. Third time again the same thing happens. So it should print stay at home. How many times? 3 times. So I've saved it, again I run it. So you can see on the screen, children, stay at home is printed thrice because the function was called thrice. I hope it is clear, children, how to define a function. Just after the keyword def, you have to write the name of the function. Now we have written the function without any parameters. After the parameter brackets, you put a colon, and then whatever statements you want, you can write under that. Okay. Now I'll make a few variations in this particular statement. Now, here I'll just make few changes. I'm defining in this a function main. Do you know, children, about main function? Main is the function with which generally in say C, C++, Java, main is the function with which the execution starts. Now I am defining in this my own function main, and in main what I will write, I will call the function display. Okay. Now, so we have written here two functions, one display function and one main function. Within main I have called the display function. Now first, below this what I will do, I'll call the main function. So what will happen now, when I call the main function, it will go to its definition, and whatever is written in the definition, that will be executed. So what is written? It has called one more function, display. So whenever the display function is called, it will go to its definition, then it will execute this. Stay at home will be displayed. After the execution is over, it will come back to the point where it was called. So it was called here. So the main, everything is over in main. Now after the main function is called, it will execute whatever statements are written under it. It comes to the point where it was called. So it was called here. So it comes back here. So what should be executed first? Display is called. So display will go there, print stay at home. So I'll just show you. Then I'll add few more statements so that the flow of execution is clear to you. See. So main was called. So it goes to the definition. Here display is called. It goes to its definition. Prints the statement. Come back here. After this, no statement in main, so it comes back here. Okay, children. Now, to make it more clearer, I'll just add few statements here. Suppose I just write here print, I can say here main starts. Okay, after the function is over here, after display, I write print, I can write main ends. Okay, and display also, if you want, you can add print starts It is just for understanding the flow of execution in the program. I am adding these statements. Starts display. See, whenever we are executing a big program, it's always better to write print statements or comments in between so that we can understand whether the program is going on a right track or not. Okay, now see what should happen. When main is called, it should come here. First print, main starts. Then display function is called, so it should go here. It should give starts display, stay at home. After display function is executed, it comes back here. So after that, what should be displayed? Main ends. And then after main is over, it should come here. So first it should be main starts, then it should be starts display, stay at home, and then main ends. So I'll save this. We'll run this. Can you see, children? Main starts display, stay at home, and main ends. So this is the flow of execution in a program. I hope, children, you have understood this. Okay. Now we'll make, see, this is a function I've just told you without any arguments. Okay. Now what I will do is, I will just add a simple argument in this. Like, we'll just make changes in this itself. I'll remove these statements. The print statements I'll just remove. Okay, this main itself I'll remove. I'll erase this main function. I'll just have my display function. Okay, now what I want is, now first there should be an input statement which should ask the name of the user. Okay, so I write input enter your name. Okay, children, so what I have written, enter your name. So whatever you will be entering from the keyboard, it will be stored in this variable n. Now I call the display function here. Now when I call the display function here, I will pass the value which is stored in n. So in brackets I am putting the variable n. Okay. Now if you see in the definition, I have not written any variable here. So if I am adding a variable here, an argument inside the function, a parameter inside the function, in the function definition also I have to make a change. I have to add that. Because when we are calling the function, the place where it is called and the definition of the function, that is the prototype of the function, should be exactly the same. If one argument is there in the function prototype also, you should have declared one variable. So I am just passing here a variable. You can give any name. I am giving it the name nm. You can even give the same name what you have entered here. Okay, so now when the display, suppose I enter my name Chaiti, so it gets stored here, and this Chaiti I am passing. When the function is called, whatever is stored here, suppose Chaiti is stored here, it will be copied in this nm variable. Okay, so now what I want to print is, in the print statement I will make a change here. I'll just write nm, the name of the variable, then I add stay at home. Okay, So what happens when the function is called, whatever you have entered from the keyboard, it gets stored in n. That value of n you are passing as
Start.
So the value will be copied here and it will be passed to nm. That whatever is the nm value, after that stay at home will be displayed. So I save this, children. I run it. So enter your name. Suppose I'm entering my name, Chaiti. I enter. So what it is given is Chaiti, stay at home. So I've just given you a very small example of functions without arguments and with arguments. Now I'll see there is one more important thing in function that we have not yet discussed till now. Every function is supposed to return a value. Okay, so there is a return statement which we should add at the end of every function definition. But there are functions like this where we have not written any return statement. So by default, when a return statement is not added, means the function returns the value false. Okay, so now I'll write a simple program which will have a function for suppose adding 2 numbers or adding 3 numbers with a return statement. Okay, now I'll just start a new file. So already I have typed the program, children. If you see here, I have written a program, a function called as sumnum, def sumnum. Here I have passed 3 parameters a, b and c. We need not give any data type here because in Python as we are already using generic data types. Okay, so after colon, what I have written, result is equal to, I want the sum of these 3 numbers. So a plus b plus c. Then once the result has been calculated, it should return the result at the place where it will be called. So return statement will return the value whatever is stored in this particular variable. Now I am asking the user to enter the first number n1, int input enter first number, similarly enter the second number and third number. Then I want to print the result of addition. So sum of the 3 numbers is. Now children, see, this is the place I am calling the function. So when the function sumnum is called, the 3 parameters what I have passed is n1, n2, n3, which we are entering from the keyboard. So suppose here I am entering 10 in n1. So n1 is 10. Suppose in n2 20 I am entering and in n3 30. So when the function is called, the value in n1 will be copied to a, the value in n2 will be copied to b, and the value in n3 will be copied to c. So those 3 values will be added, and return result means whatever is the sum, addition result, it will be returned at the place where it was called. So here it will display that result value, whatever is stored in that. Now I'll just run this program and show you, children. Save it. Already though it's saved. Okay, so I entered 10. So 10 is 20 and 30. So it should give 60. 60. So in this way we can call this function any number of times. Okay, suppose instead of writing this, I am writing printf. Suppose I copy this. Okay, and just paste it. Print, I am writing sum is, suppose I write some num. I pass any three values, suppose 53, comma, 10, comma, 30. So directly also we can pass the values. And any number of time we can call it. Suppose I enter 1, 2 and 3. So 6 and 53 plus 10, 63 plus 30, 93. Okay, so children, so this is the way we have to use functions. I have just given you an introduction of functions, how to define a function, a very simple program to explain you how to define a function without argument. Then I've explained you the flow of execution in a program when functions are used. Then we have just seen a simple program with a return statement. Okay, so in the next video, children, we'll be doing about default arguments in function, local variables and global variables. So children, thank you very much for listening. Take care, stay at home, stay safe. Thank you.